So now we're back, still navigating through Manglewood, and there's not really much left to go for it. It's like one or two more rooms. The first visit to Manglewood's not actually that bad, but the second visit is complete and utter bullshit.
Thanks. I feel better now. That's the sealed urn. The sword keeps it sealed from above. You'll have to pull it out. But I don't know what will happen. I'll bet Gorpus is getting weak in his old age. He shouldn't be too much trouble, I hope.
Shouldn't be too much trouble, I don't know what would happen. That seems very bullshit. So you basically have to pull out the sword to initiate a boss fight, and she said she didn't know what would happen, but that's just a fucking lie. Damn, so close. This is Gorpus, one of the most annoying bosses in the game, especially because of the strat you have to use to beat him. So now we have the Gorpus boss fight, and the best strategy that I could come up with for this is to jump every time he uses that claw attack. And as long as you have the timing down, it's pretty consistent. And if you 360 after he does that claw attack, sometimes he'll clip through his claw, which is pretty good because it's very hard to actually get around those claws to attack him. Claws can be destroyed as well, and you're supposed to attack his face so that that mask that he has on breaks. And unlike most bosses in the game, you have to hit it a certain amount of times after you break that mask. It's pretty much just 3. It doesn't actually have like a health bar like some bosses, like you have to do a certain number of damage. It's just a certain number of times you have to attack it. But yeah, jumping and hoping that you clip through with 360 is really annoying. And this is one of the hardest bosses in the game in my opinion. Even though it's one of the first. I mean, if you had better tools, like if you had the tools that you get late game, pretty much end game, this boss would not be a problem. When Gorpus goes for this attack, all you have to do is just run in a straight line to evade it, and you shouldn't get hit. And you get a chance to attack it after this without it retaliating, which is very good. It's one of the few times you get that versus this boss. And that jumping attack that it went for right there, I get hit by it a lot. Because I have a very hard time avoiding that jump attack. You can see where it's going with the shadow, but sometimes, because of how big it is, it's very hard to evade. And I got the first hit out of 3 that I need, so now I just need 2 more, and this boss will be down. This is an instance where I use Maelstrom so that I don't get hit by that jumping attack because I wasn't going to avoid it in time. And now I'm actually doing what I was supposed to do the first time when I got a chance to attack its mask. I'm not supposed to use 360 to attack its mask. I'm actually supposed to use the square attack, the chain attack, just one hit of it to do as much damage as I can. The 360 attack is good for clipping through the claws when it goes for that whole claw swipe attack, because trying to run around the claws and attack it is very hard and annoying, and you can take a lot of damage from doing it. After Gorpus does his jump attack, you also get another chance to attack it without it retaliating. But you have to walk forward while attacking to do it. This boss basically has 4 attacks, and most of them aren't really that hard to avoid. And now I just have to hit it one more time, and it should go down. Also, another thing if you haven't noticed by now, the boss can regenerate its claws and its mask. So even if you do destroy the claws that are very annoying, and I do destroy indirectly, not really trying to go for it, they'll just regenerate in like a few seconds anyway. That was an instance where I'd mistimed my jump and I actually got hit by that claw attack. And learning the timing for that claw attack is actually not too bad. It's pretty necessary too for how many times he uses that attack in this boss fight. If you're ever fighting a boss in this game and you don't have enough health, you can also just die to it, because this game doesn't really punish you for dying too bad against bosses. Once you continue, after you die, you get full health back and full MP. If you use your items during a boss fight and you die, it will also restore them when you continue. Which a lot of games that I've played don't really do that during boss fights. If you use them during a boss fight and you continue, they're not there the next time around. And there's the final hit, the boss is down, and it's going to explode in anime-like fashion, because nothing can just keel over and die, it has to explode, that's just how it is. So that sword that just dropped is the Sword of Earth, the sword we were looking for the entire time. This is the first sword out of 5, so now there's only 4 more to go.
Fantastic! You're a hero straight out of legend. There's no way I could have handled that beast. Anthium can rest easy thanks to you. Maybe we should head back now.
So the game puts you back into Musashi's room, and once again it doesn't restore your HP and MP. Restoring it by resting doesn't take too much time though, but I really wish it was automatic instead. Considering I had just come from a boss fight, why wouldn't I want my HP and MP restored? The next place I'm about to go to is the bread store, because Musashi is poor, and I don't feel like spending too much money at this point in the game, so he's going to buy burnt bread. The only reason I'm buying burnt bread is because it costs $0, so it's free. Basically, in this scene, Bryony says she's sorry for all the trouble, and she thinks that getting you out of Manglewood was the equivalent of all that trouble that you went through. The trouble of saving her, and the trouble of fighting Gorpus. And yeah, Musashi's going to be buying a lot of burnt bread. There's no option to buy things in multiple in this game, so you have to buy it one at a time. This burnt bread is something that I'm going to be using for the first 3 chapters of this game.
Thank you very much.
After chapter 3, the end of it, I'm pretty sure I don't use it for the rest of the playthrough. In this next part, we're going to go to the Chamber of Rights, which is the only way to unlock the latent powers of the swords, and you have to do it for every sword.
Let's begin the rite of transfer. I will invoke the spell, and I want you to strike the Sword of Earth into the floor where the Earth Gate appears. But wait for my signal. Here we go. Oh, sacred Sword of Earth, this brave soul from another world vows in the name of the 5 spirits, of mortals and of the heavens, to walk with you as long as he lives.
Sand, pebble, rock, boulder! Did it work?
You did it! I knew Mycella chose a good one. That was perfect. I'm so proud of you. I'm sure Bannon would love to hear the news. Tell him when you get a chance.
Basically, every time you unlock a sword's latent powers, the Anthedon magically gains some strength back, and it can now transport you to new places as well. At the end of every chapter, you get a scene with Gandrake's minions, and they have the best voice acting in the game.
So that's why our illustrious second-in-command came running back with his tail between his legs.
It's all part of the plan. Mr. Gandrake himself wants to let the stranger be, for a time.
Boring. We should just off him and be done with it.
Well, he's remarkably resourceful. He even defeated the Vaporbot prototype.
Maybe your bots just suck.
No way!
Oh, here comes his nibs.
Thank you all for coming. Let's get this meeting started. Does anyone have any announcements?
As everyone should certainly know by now, the Mystic's new mercenary has destroyed the Vaporbot. This Musashi then entered Wellspring Woods and acquired the Sword of Earth. We are monitoring his movements as directed.
Whatever.
Our excavator and investigator units are calibrated and ready for deployment. We anticipate a 10% increase in R&D efficiency.
I'll have them sent to each department. Anything else?
Bloke,
Sir?
stay away from Musashi. We cannot risk a premature conflict.
Yes, sir. Is this bloke psychic?
Very well. Anyone else? No? Okay. If that is all, then this meeting is adjourned.
So now we're gonna head to Banon's room, because that's the only way to advance the story. And once in Banon's room, we have this guy pacing back and forth, because he's in a panic of some sort, and we're gonna find out why. So yeah, basically they kidnapped the Maiden of Water while she was out looking for the Sword of Water. So they basically kidnapped the Maiden of Water because she's the wisest out of all the maidens, and they want to use her powers to extract more Nebulite. And Nebulite pretty much makes this world go round in this game. It's the source of like all energy. So now the Amphidon can fly over to Roquefort Mine. Off in the distance you see the next area that we're going to be visiting in the game. Now we get to see something that I just don't understand about Ninjaroids. This Ninjaroid sweats. It's a robot. It's not possible.
Quit stuffing around, you lazy bludgers. Happens every time. I guess I'd be bored stiff too, digging holes all day. Listen, I'm going over to headquarters. Keep an eye on the water wench. Get back to work, the lot of you. Maybe I can get in some surfing on the way back.
This is the first area in Roquefort Mine, and it's pretty small, but once you get later into the mine, it gets pretty big, and it can get somewhat confusing. But yeah, this is one of those games where they will place a chest right behind the starting point, so you gotta pay attention for that in this game. The Ninjaroids at the very start of the game you can run past pretty easily, but it gets a lot worse in the later half of the game, where I swear those Ninjaroids get faster somehow, upgrades or something. And one of the reasons I stop around here is because there's supposed to be a chest in the middle section of this area, and I actually hit the wrong switch. That's the reason you see me walking around confused there. I was supposed to hit this switch, because that's where the chest is.